Hey, folks, if you have ever been in an audience, I hope that you feel you can trust the speaker you're listening to. Now, of course, there's some speakers you kind of know not to trust, but you're in the audience anyway. And a lot of times those are speakers you're forced to listen to. But to me, there should inherently be a trust between the speaker and the audience, that the speaker is doing their best to tell the truth, to give good information, and to not manipulate for the sake of manipulation. And we're going to manipulate as speakers to some degree to get the audience to feel something, but what we want them to feel should be authentic and should not be self servicing. It should be to help move that audience to action. And as an audience member, a lot of the times we can tell if we're being poorly manipulated, if we're being lied to, but not always. Some really good speakers find a way to put it over on us, to pull the wool down over our eyes, as they used to say. And sometimes that's just because we as an audience are rooting for that speaker to a large degree. We don't want them to be lying to us. And gosh, gee, that story is so good. We wish it were true. It ought to be true. This is the case in a story that was brought up today as I was reading a book that is a compilation of a whole bunch of speaking coaches giving their best advice on speaking. There's a lot of good chapters and a lot of good advice. Of course, a chapter a few days ago talked about the Albert Moravian myth about the percentages of your impact as a speaker being 7% words and 93% everything else, gestures, tone, etc., which is bogus if you think about it, and is even more bogus if you actually talk to Dr. Moravian, who constantly tells us how that's been misquoted and misinterpreted, and it really bothers him. But today, the chapter I read was talking about emotions, using emotions in the speech. And he quoted a speech that has bothered me for years. And I wrote a blog post about it called The Speaker's Trust. If you go to speakanddeliver.com and look up The Speaker's Trust, you'll get a little bit more background on it. But essentially, it's a very famous speech in Toastmasters that talks about someone losing a childhood friend to a disease that was very, very personal, very, uh, and just the disease took their life very, very quickly. And the speech was fantastic. It was dynamic. It was descriptive. It was emotional. The speaker was crying on stage. The audience was crying. And the speaker accomplished exactly what they wanted to accomplish and were rewarded for it at the end of the day. Later, I mean, literally a few hours after the event that he spoke at, he was being interviewed about the story, which he admitted to making up. That the person, the childhood friend that he talked about, never existed. He took an amalgamation of different stories and different people he had heard about in life and turned it into a single narrative and used it to accomplish what he wanted to accomplish that day. Which, okay, it's not that uncommon, but nobody in that audience thought he was making something up. He thought they all thought it was real. And they rewarded him in such a way that I don't think they would have had they realized he'd made it all up. I felt betrayed when I found out about it. And a lot of people just tell me, Rich, get over it. People do it all the time. You got a message across. Okay, great. But couldn't he have gotten it across by telling me the truth? By using another story that was more authentic, that was actually real? So to me, as a speaker, I'm never going to lie to you. I'm never going to make something up. Am I going to embellish maybe? Am I going to perhaps move things around just a little bit? Yes, but it's not going to change the authenticity of the story. I'm not going to make up people. I might change the names, but I'm not going to make them up unless, it's a minor character, not my best friend dying. Yes, this bothers me. Still bothers me. And I hope it bothers you. I hope that you, as a speaker, make a commitment to go out and hold the speaker's trust as something that is top priority. Hold it in your heart. Hold your audience to it. Let them know that you are someone to be trusted. And that way, when you give them ideas and strategies, and tactics to have a better life, they have every reason to believe in you. You want some help making sure your message is authentic? Well, drop me a direct message. Let's get together for a 30-minute consult. I'm happy to help you with your Toastmasters contest speech or your business sales speech or your wannabe keynote speech. I'm here for all of it. Been doing it for 20 years. Love every minute. Hey, go out there, make sure you're holding to the speaker's trust and living your win anyway life while you always speak anyway as well.